all the participants in week 11, session 3rd. So in the last session, as we have started discussing on the PRA, PLA, different techniques and the tools. So within that, we have discussed the we've started discussing on the physical tool of PRA, PLA techniques. Among that, we have discussed the resource mapping, social mapping. Just moving ahead with the same topic, that is about the mapping or the physical tools of the PRA, PLA technique. Here, the next one I have taken as to make you understand the mobility diagram. That's again so important PRA, PLA technique. That's actually make you understand the patterns of the individual groups. I know how and why they actually moving from one place to another. I mean, from their village to outside is also helpful. Making the migrant pattern, to understand the migrant patterns, and also to identify, understand the kind of the gaps which has been there into the community. So it's the purpose. If you look into the purpose of the mobility diagram, it's about to explore the movement patterns. So that is what the daily, seasonal or lifelong movements, I mean, that is the permanent migrants, or the seasonal migrations, or you could say the daily up and down kind of the migration, or even the how and why the community members are moving outside from the villages, and even within the community they are moving. So how far they are actually moving. If they are for their basic things, they are moving for the larger distances. This means that amenities or that resources is out of their reach, is not available in their own community. So it also identify reason for mobility and its impact in the community. Next is to analyze access to services like education, health, markets, and then transportation. Means how you can analyze, I mean, with the help of this mobility map, that how these different important resources are not available into the community. So it could be of the daily mobility, seasonal mobility, access analysis, or gender analysis. Gender analysis is also important here, examining the different differences in the mobility pattern between the males and then females. How far the males are going, how far the females are going, how frequently the females are going somewhere, how frequently the males are going somewhere. So this is also important to understand the gender perspective around the mobility pattern. So how to do it? I mean, the next question is how to do it. Means the practically how we can actually prepare the whole mobility map, or make it prepared by the community, this mobility map. So first thing is to explain the purpose of the whole exercises and initiate the discussions with all the places on the places of the visit. Means you have to go into the community, you mobilize the community, developing the rapport that we have already discussed, how you have to reach and proceed with the PRA. So after doing all such developing rapport and all, list down the name of the places or in small pieces of paper in bold letters. Means the areas where you actually taking into accounts where the community members are going. So after the discussion of the community member, right, like the hospital and Anganwadi, or any places like this, or the panchayat ghar, or the any market area, so something like that, right? So start with the central circle representing the home of or the village from where they start. If it is like you have to make it a mobility map of a women in the village, within the village, how far she is going for to fetch the water and all, or to carry the firewoods and all. So you can have to draw a circle which depicts the village, and then put a dot in the center that depicts that women, that families, or whoever's you actually make the mobility. So that is what the on which you are actually preparing the this whole mobility map. Encourage them to depict the places using symbols to or visuals, particularly in the participants if not are non-illiterate. Means if you just show you up, I mean, you can put some kind of the pictures, you can use some kind of picture, you can also use some kind of the symbols. Like here I use the plus to depict the medical facilities or the primary health center, or whatever the kind of the health facilities available there, or just to show some kind of that, to put some kind of symbols to show that okay, this is maybe the school. Or so if even the community members are illiterate, they could understand what does this mean and what actually we are actually discussing about. So draw arrows radiating outwards, representing the movement pattern. So that is what see, like how these arrows are moving outwards, showing the mobility towards the different areas. Arrow size or thickness can symbolize or indicates the frequency or the importance of the movement. You can use the different colors also for to depicting or for to signify the different impacts or different frequency of the any area. Maybe more thicker the arrow, the more frequency they are visiting that place. More longer the arrow, that is what, like the more distant that place is. Maybe you can use the different colors to portray the importance of those places where they're actually visiting. Even they are not frequently visiting, but that place is so important for them. So you can also portray it through some different colors. So depending how you have to use a different kind, to signify the same thing, you can use your own way, or actually modify the overall this mapping. How to further do this map? Means brainstorm and write the aspect which could be represented, including purpose of visiting the places. Then you have to ask that if you are going this place, going to the forest areas, for what reasons you are going there. If you are going to some health clinics or the Anganwadi, so for what reason you are going, and then importance of those places visited. Then you have to ask how you rate it, how much you feel it important for you to visit those places. Then distances of the places, you could ask, okay, if you are going to get some kind of the medication or for some family planning, if you want to take some kind of the pills or contraceptive pills, for that you are going to Anganwadi or maybe to the Asha, maybe the Asha is coming to you, or maybe you are going to the Asha or to the A&M or to the primary health center. So wherever you are going, for whatever reason, so how far it is, right? And then mode of transport, if you're going that area which is farther, so how you are going that, through cycle, rickshaw, auto, tempo, or is there any kind of public transport is available for going over there or not. And then frequency of visits, that how often you are going that area. So that's also make that resource as an important, whether someone is going daily anywhere or weekly or seasonality. Means you can do just analysis. If someone is going daily on some area, maybe the students who are going to the college daily every day, right? But the distance is so far. So just analyze, going every day but distance is so high, and again mode of transport is so lacking. They have to wait for a longer period of time for any public transport or any kind of a taxi or anything like that. So overall, this, after the analysis of these three, you can understand and you can identify the issues related to the attending the schools by the students of that area, and that could be the resulted into the dropouts. So whether alone or with someone, where do you travel regularly, what are the reason for your movement, how often do these movements occurs, challenges and opportunities during these movements. So what kind of the issues arrive in reaching over there. So these are some questions you have to put in front of the community members. So whatever the answers they have given you have to develop the whole map. So here this signifies that maybe that a single person or that single woman, or it could be in general of one group mobility. So depending upon for what reasons you are preparing. So here I just have to put it some pictures. You can also go with some kind of the pictures to for make it more easier, so that you can go with some kind of the pictures or with some kind of the plain sheets as well, because maybe after asking the questions where you people are usually going, maybe you didn't have that picture, or you cannot anticipate earlier that what on which area they are going usually. So you can also go with some kind of the plain papers, or you can use some kind of the symbols. Anyways, you can make it. So this is what like the major fundamental of this. Just you in the center you have to put that community, that person whose mobility you are actually scoring or you are actually preparing, and then putting the arrows or outwards towards where they are going. So here like it could also mention the kind of the in the kilometers, like it is like maybe the 15 kilometers. Market is maybe 8 kilometers from And then a simple small markets or hut or hatia kind of the things usually been established by the government of by the British, and then later on it is still carried in many tribal and the scheduled areas. So that is called the hatia, the weekly market. So this hut, this is again, this usually happen to be closer to those village areas. So it's a weekly market, or right. So again, I mean, still this weekly market is so common in the areas, in the slum area, in the rural areas or underserved areas. And then fields, so maybe it's a 2 kilometers or within or 1 kilometer, or hand pump is just 16 steps away from that women, or maybe the well or whatever the water resources, if it is scarce there, scarcity of water is there, so maybe they have to travel to fetch the water up to 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers. So after whole analysis of this, you will be able definitely, after asking the questions from all the members, or even to the single members whose mobility you are actually making, so that how much it is it's a problematic thing for community members to moving outside, and then what are the constraints, what are the gaps, what are the lacking resources into the communities. Then you can put those things into the after analysis of that, you can maybe any policy makers or any government agency can supported this and then fill to that gap. Maybe if I take the example of medical facilities, which is very far from the maybe from one community, so and even the commute system is not good, so even the government cannot bring that medical facility closer to them. So what they can do at that time, that they can provide make it a commute system better over there. Providing any taxi or any public transportation over there to support the accessibility to the medical. So after this analysis, you can actually develop this kind of the suggestions and all with the help of the community members itself, what they actually wanted. So this is all about the mobility mapping. Next physical tool which is so common is the transect walk. Transect walk usually being done at the very start or sometime to validate the mapping, means after preparing some resource mapping or social mapping or even the any kind of the mapping. So after doing that also, you can do the transect walk to make it to take a feedback and to validate those mapping which you have done, right? So transect walk can also be done for that. Transect walk can also be done at the very start of any project, means once you go into the community, from where to start and from what tools you are going to start first. So what I feel that transect walk is the best answer, means you go into the community, you just interact, developing the rapport, and you just have to take a cross-sectional walk into the community or diagonal walk into the community, or whichever thing you have to decide. It means to start from which area to going and to end. So the path has to be clear, right? And this you cannot decide the path, rather you have to take the group of the community member and then decide the path on which you have to follow and to develop a good transect walk, to get the idea of about that community. So as like it is about to get the idea of about the community, mainly about the natural resources and the type of the soil, topography and all. It also additionally gives you the idea of the resources, natural resources of the community, even to the kind of the way the community are living. That is about the community dynamics aspect, one aspect of the community dynamics, right? So transect walk is a cross-sectional view. How it is different from mapping? So mapping is a bird view. It's a cross-sectional view, means from horizontal we are looking at something, right? Or parallelly we are looking at something. But in the mapping, it's a vertical look. You have to look the things from the upside down. So it's like a bird view, it's a vertical view, right? So transect walk is a cross-sectional view of an area used to explore the special dimension of people's realities, particularly useful in natural resource management. It transect depicts a cross-sectional view of the different ecological zones and provides a comparative assessment of the zones on different parameters, maybe of two different areas in one community. You have to identify and the kind of the resources in two different areas they possess. So it is generally done after this resource map, as I have already told you, and therefore helps in triangulation, right? It also helps in moving forward from problem identification to natural resources. Transect has been used for various purposes. These are some purposes like, you know, appraisal of natural resources in terms of status, problems, and potential. Verification of issues actually raised during other PRA exercises, particularly during social mapping or natural resource mapping, could be, validate. That's already mentioned. Formulation of various intervention on the basis and the analysis of the transect walk, you can actually draft some kind of the interventional thing. Monitoring and evaluation of intervention and projects. After completion of any project, you can also do the transect walk, and it gives you the idea that how you are successful in implementing those gaps area. So maybe you have started with some other tools and then intervene, analyze everything, but after that you can do a transect walk to get an idea how much you are successful. So the transect walk starts with 2-3 groups or 2-3 members even. So who are aware about the community. So no new members. Those persons should be from the community itself. Observation and record keeping should be done on issues related to the physiography, land type, land use, topography, ownership, tenure, natural vegetation, crops. So water bodies available in between you while you are walking into the street. Halt should be made. It is again very important. Kind of things you have to follow while you are doing the transect walk, that you halt sometime after every 100 or 200 meters, or wherever you find some people, you just stop there, discuss with them. So after once you started your intervention in any community with the transect walk, you can develop a good rapport with the community members, because you are moving into the community, observing the thing, noting down the thing. Also in between you stop down and then you also discuss with the community members and all. And especially where there is a change in terrain, soil, resources, type, land use and ownership. And particularly you have to stop by where you saw and you observe some kind of changes, some unique things in that surrounding. So you just have to hold there, stay there, and then discuss about that. So that is a very good idea. So because usually all the kinds of the PRA, PLA technique has been done in one place, and relying much on the things which is been given by the statements given by the community members, but that need to be triangulated, that need to be validated with the help of the transect walk. After having all the mapping, you can go and then have the transect walk, right? So what are the usefulness of this transect walk? One thing, at the very start you can do that to develop the rapport and to understand, to get the very preliminary information about the community, and then analyze those. On the basis of that, you can also, if you have done a very strong analysis and then done a very very deep transect walk, very strong transect walk, you can have all the information and maximum information of the community, so that at the very start you can develop the rapport, you can get the basic idea of the community. After doing any maps, you can do the transect walk to validate it, to triangulate it, to take the feedback with how much, the things which you have to put it into that maps were correct or not. And then this is also very useful overall, like in identification of the issues, and then any kind of the changes which has been there in the community. So through the transect walk, you can actually to make it to understand it. Okay, how to do it, how to make this transect walk, and how to do this transect walk. So locate a group of local people or having some knowledge of the area, take them along, explain the purpose, and then involve them in whole identification of the transect path. Go along with the people at prefixed time on the decided transect walk. It means the timing we have to fix, and then also the time as per the ease of the community. If the situation demands, make modification in the paths. First, you have to decide from where to start, from where and where to end. But also, you can make some kind of the modification if you see that the things has not been if you, many times it happened in the community. You have to be flexible. That is another very important principle that you have to follow. So if the situation doesn't allow you to go in certain paths, so you have to change that path. If the situation demands, measure and record observation of land use. keeping the notes while moving into the community. And don't be act like an interviewer. Never in any tool, never act like an interviewer that you have to write the question, ask the question, and writing the answer in front of them. It seems very professional from the from the um, uh, media context, but from the social work context, it's not at all considered to be professional. You have to keep many things in your to memorize, and then just writing the pointers in a very brief manner. Need not to write everything there. Means just have to given some important points, and later on you have to convert it into the information, right? So use the work to develop rapport with the community. After the work, present and finding sample shown to the community members, and what are the additional inputs you have the community members will give. You just have to add those, analyze data with respect to the management issues, identify data processing, mapping and plan of the action, especially where community can be taken action to enhance irrigation facilities and farming practices, because while moving you can get all such ideas. So I just have to bring one example here. So this is what the criteria of one village. There was one roadside field, another was the riverside field. So in one village there was one river is going, and then another part of the community where it was near to the roadside, main roadside. So soil type of both has been medium black, and then near to the riverside it was deep black. Topography in the roadside field was the medium. In the riverside field was low. It was downside. Crops like which has been usually been sown in the cultivated in the roadside was the soya bean, maize, beans, cucumber, pumpkin. But in the riverside fields, it was mainly the soya bean has been cultivated in that area. Fruits and other trees like mango, neem, palm, babul, soya bean, guava, and many custard apple, mulberry has been actually been planted in the roadside field. And in the riverside field, mainly it's about the neem, teak, mahogany, bamboo, and then babul was there. Water resources, talk about the tube wells. People were using tube wells and hand pumps near the roadside field, and the near the tube and the near the riverside fields, they use usually the river tube wells and all. Problem which has been observed near the roadside fields within the agricultural area was the pest and diseases were so common after the observation and after the discussion with the community member, and same way in the riverside field because it was the same village. Opportunity which has been identified in the roadside field was the drought prone variety of the cultivation were more common. Here in the riverside field, that in the roadside fields, these kind of the cultivation could be possible, and the riverside fields where the check dams and pond and fisheries could be introduced in these area where the riverside field is. So this is all about the today's presentation, where we have discussed the few very important tools of the PRA PLA techniques.